Hello, Peter.
Hello, Davie. How are you doing? Hello, good evening out there, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all well. Thank you for so many people joining us tonight already. That's lovely to see that figure on a Wednesday night, because we haven't done a Wednesday night for quite a long time. Because it's What's New Wednesdays. Yeah, Tom Jones never had a whistle player, did he?
And now you can see why.
Yeah, that's what we've got. I like that, Davie. That's good.
I love the fact that it's the right key as well.
Yeah, it was very good, very good. So, good evening, folks. Please share the show about for us. As it said in the wee run in there, please share, comment, and like the pages. That's what we love you to do. And there's Linda saying hi. Hi, Linda. And John as well. And Loch Maven. We've got a really nice, interesting wee night for you tonight. A wee bit longer than normal on a Wednesday. Because we've got our guests to reveal to you later on as well.
And what guests they are.
We have got two cracking guests, very, very good guests. I'm looking forward to introducing them later on. We also have a guest tonight for What's New Wednesdays.
Yes.
A chap called Don Scobie. Don is out in America, and we're going to have a nice, interesting discussion with Don. He is a baker to trade and a piper, and he's combined both knowledge of both and brought out a book. Well, I think he's got a few books, but we'll find more and more about that as we go along. But the one we're looking at is the Patriotic Piper, which is pipe tunes and patriotic pipe tunes and recipes, Scottish recipes. So you can all get your onions worth in about what stovies should be made of. Should it be mince? Should it be sausage? Should it be beef? Yeah.
Peter,
what?
What's the most expensive stovies you can get?
The most expensive stovies? No, don't know.
Venison stovies. Because Affy dear.
Affy dear, I get it. Oh, okay. That's good. Affy dear, venison stovies. See, you could have venison stovies.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of stovies. Everywhere I went, all over Scotland, there seemed to be good recipes for stovies. Anyway, we've got that to go through tonight. We've got Don coming on to speak about his book and a couple of tunes for him as well. And we'll reveal the guests later on. And Davie, you wanting to start with a wee tune tonight?
Aye, could do. It's a new tune. It's not got a name yet.
Well, that's great. Since it's What's New Wednesdays, that's good. New tune. And I've actually got a new tune I'm going to play tonight as well, actually. So,
just like to point out this one here. This comment here.
Oh, Fiona's watching. She's going, oh no.
She's in the other room.
Well, Fiona, she's a brave soul, because she married you 3 weeks ago and she has to put up with all these jokes all the time.
That's true.
So well done, Fiona. Well done. Anyway, what are you giving us?
I'm going to give you a new tune that's not got a name yet, right. But it's a 4/4 march style tune on the whistle.
Magic.
So
take it away, sir. Take it away. It's all yours.
Boom, boom. Try again. Click. There you go.
There we go. Good man. That's nice. That's very regal. Very regal. Kind of stately. The king and queen shall enter to this small march. No, very good. Maybe Don. I'm not sure if Don can get Bisto in America.
So.
Anyway, right. This weekend, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember our former presenter that Davie took over from, Ross McNaughton, I was just wanting to mention to you all out there, Ross is getting married on Saturday. Ross and Gwen are getting married, and we want to wish them all the best for Tartan Tunes. And I'm sure a lot of you out there will remember Ross being on the show, and we just wish them all the best. A wedding in Pitlochry, or near Pitlochry, or somewhere in that area. I don't know. But all the best to you. Lovely to see you getting married. And if you're stuck, Ross, if you're needing any advice, remember Davie's just went through this recently. He's nearly 3 weeks in the bag now. And so he knows how to handle any awkward questions. Just drop him a message. I'm sure he'll help you out and a bit of advice here and there. So, but all the best, Ross and Gwen. We wish you all the best, and we'll hopefully hear how it goes and maybe see something on Sunday.
Aye.
That'll be good. Here is a wee tune for me this time. I've stuck a wee video together. This is a wee tune that I was asked commissioned to write about a month or two ago. For this lady, Dorothy Harkis. Dorothy's originally from Orkney, but been up in Shetland a long, long time. And I knew her through the schools. And I think it was her granddaughter, Michelle, that came and asked me about writing this tune. So they wanted a wee polka. So this is a wee polka, and she had her birthday yesterday. So it was a surprise for her, but I heard she liked it. Thank goodness. It could have been bad, couldn't it? She thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
So here is a wee tune that I wrote, the Dorothy Harkis polka, and I've stuck some videos on it. Yesterday, it was just yesterday in Shetland when we were down on the beach. So enjoy, have a wee dance.
Am I pushing play, man?
Ah, go on, you press play. Aha, there we go. A wee new one. Lots of congratulations coming in for Roscoe there. That's awful nice to see.
If only he was watching the show.
What was that?
If only he was watching the show.
He better be. Phone him. Get on this show right now. Anyway, there we go. That was yesterday down at the beach. It was a wee bit, it wasn't a bright sunshine, but it was still a lovely place to be. Awfully nice. And we found out the dog can swim today. Because it slipped off. It's just a wee shop here down at the end of the garden, and it decided to plump off the end of it, and it wasn't much left yet by the time it just disappears. It's a tiny wee thing, but it fairly swam. It was okay. It was good. Right,
Fight or flight.
Talking of sea and over the pond and all that, I think we'll bring our guest on tonight for What's New Wednesday. So here is Don Scobie. Let's bring Don on. Hi, Don.
Hi, guys.
How's it going?
Are you well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great. Glad you can join us tonight. It's we're looking forward to this. I think I spotted about a month ago that you were bringing out this book, and it tweaked my interest, shall we say, and we've had a brief conversation beforehand, and you're involved with quite a lot of things. Can I ask right away, I'm wanting to ask Scotland and the connection to Scotland. What's your connection to Scotland when you're out in America near Seattle there? And is it Whidbey Bay you're in? Whidbey Island?
Well, I think there's a couple of different answers to that. One is that a lot of people from Scotland and Ireland actually immigrated to this part of the U.S.
Okay.
If you go around here, largely to say, if you're in a location, it either has a Native American name or it has a Scottish name.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's plenty of heritage here.
Right. Okay. So, do you have Scottish links yourself back in the family, or have you found any? Or?
Yeah, my last name is Sept of Clan Mackay, and then like a lot of us, or at least a lot of us on this side of the pond, we can turn around and say, well, there's this clan, and this clan, that's in the family.
Brilliant, fantastic. Now, as we spoke earlier, you were telling me you're a baker,
right?
You're a musician because you play the pipes, and now you're a writer because you're bringing all these books out.
Yep.
So what we're going to look at is going to be great, because this books that you've brought out, the one caught my eye was the Patriotic Piper Volume 1, which is a combination, there it is, there's the book, which is a combination of patriotic tunes for the pipes,
right,
which we'll talk about in a wee while, and Scottish recipes. So we're going to have some fun with that and catch on to all these recipes. But I think what we will do first is just have a wee bit of music from yourself. Now, this one was called Bag and Pipe Hoppers. Was that right?
Yep, my original Celtic rock band.
Your original Celtic rock band. Where was this video? Did I read it? It was downtown Seattle or something you told me about?
It's one way or the other. What you have is going to be downtown Seattle, and it's either going to be in the heart of downtown at Westlake, where it's really the core of the city, big shopping mall. To drop name places, there's a landmark Starbucks there because that's important. It's either there or nearby at the location of the, I think, 1967 World's Fair, the Seattle Center, and there's an event every Memorial Day called Folk Life, and it could have been us playing at that big music festival.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing was, of course, we'll talk about that, the Scottish American Veteran Society that you're involved with as well, but we're going to have a chat about that later on as well.
Sure.
So there's a lot going on here, Remember, folks, please share it all over the place. Nice to see some new names coming in tonight as well. It's lovely to see so many comments. Fantastic. So here is Don giving us a wee set of tunes to begin with, and a bit of a funky video of this. It's quite funky. So enjoy.
Maybe you should look into yourself to Peter.
What?
Maybe you should do this sort of style of video yourself. Funky video.
Yeah. I'm too old for funky.
Okay,
I just bung things together.
Here we go.
There we go.
Right.
Did you like that professional bit of editing there at the end there? The drummer has to do everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit of a flashback there. I kind of forgot about that video.
Very good. Gives folk really, a lot of people enjoying that out there.
Yeah.
Linda Milton says she's just finds it's awesome. I thought it was just absolutely.
Yeah, actually, you know, like a lot of band experiences, they still have a stack of that band CDs kicking around. So,
do you? Where's the best place for people to get CDs of that kind of stuff from you? Is to get in touch with you themselves, isn't it?
Right now, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can get in touch with www.bagpiperdon.com if you fancy a CD, I'm sure Don will get back to you. And don't worry about running for pens and papers, as I always say. This is recorded and it will be going out later on YouTube as well. So you'll be able to look back addresses and get them, no bother at all. John, wonderful that you can come on and join us.
Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely fantastic. You said earlier you were a baker, hence the recipes in the book. You're a piper. You're also a scuba diver.
Yeah.
You've got a varied lifestyle out there, and then you're now a writer as well. This isn't your first book, The Patriotic Piper. You had a book before this, didn't you?
Yeah, my first book from October 2018 right here, Make Your Own Darn Good Cookies, self-published. So much so, I'm my own hand model. So
fantastic.
Right.
And that's a whole book dedicated to cookies.
Well, it was a little bit more than that. It's cookies biscotti, which is my specialty, coffee and other comfort foods.
Okay, fantastic. See the things you learn on this show.
Well, that first book was a little bit of a thing of kind of to say, hello world, here's what's to come with my recipe book.
Right. Good. Well, that progressed on. Obviously, did you train as a baker then? Was that a profession that you took up? Or?
Not in the formal sense. Really say, being a bit of a precocious kid, I wanted to do everything. And you know, a lot of that was I wanted to do everything that my parents were doing. And they would get into the kitchen, I'd wander into the kitchen, and more or less get myself into trouble. So they looked at it and said, you know, let's slow things down here. If he's going to do this, then let's take him under our wing and actually show him how to cook and give him something to do. So he's not underfoot. So he's not trying to, you know, pull hot pots off the stove, that sort of thing. You know, let's actually show him how to handle a knife instead of watching that he doesn't go and grab them. So I ended up learning through my parents and then also through my grandmother, who was, every time we'd come over and visit, she was always trying some new experiment from whatever celebrity chef was the current thing. So we were always kind of eating this crazy stuff every time we visited. But at the same time, for me, it was fascinating to see, you know, what's this tapas thing, and then what's this thing with spinach, and you know, everything that she was doing. So it really, as cooking goes, it flared my imagination.
So that kind of take care of the baking side a bit, and obviously you've progressed yourself with that over the years. Piping, where did the piping come into the game?
Piping formally came into the game with high school. I started piping my freshman year in 1988, and that was after many years of hearing the instrument, dreaming about playing. At the time, of course, you couldn't look online and you know, Seattle pipe band sort of thing and try and find somebody, hence an instructor. So anytime we'd catch a pipe band at a parade, we'd try and chase them down at the end of the parade and say, hey, our son would like to start piping. How does he do this? Oh, well, you need to get an instructor. Cool. Can you refer us to someone? He needs to get an instructor. Right. So people were kind of obstinate about actually helping people get started. But as it turned out, one of the high schools that was in my school district was one of, I think, less than 10 high schools in the whole U.S. that had a pipe band. So I ended up fighting tooth and nail to get into that school so I could learn pipes.
Mm-hmm. And then you were obviously influenced by a lot of the modern day pipers and things that came along as well, because you've taken that. You like doing the pipe rock thing. the pipe funky thing.
Right.
Did you have anybody that you really looked up to in the piping world that you enjoyed what they did there?
So with piping, just the way things ended up playing out, I played for my 4 years in high school and then had to take about a 6-year break because I just didn't have the time. With getting back into piping, that was when I was starting to see people doing Celtic rock. It wasn't just AC/DC with Long Way to the Top. And with getting back in and having better instruction and more inspiration with those instructors, finding out that there was more than just pipe band, more than just traditional music. And both of those are great, but sometimes you want something else, you want something more. That's when I started finding out about others. And what I decided to do was name for myself two piping heroes, and it was Gordon Duncan and Martin Bennett.
Yeah.
And sorry to say, but we all know how that turned out. So I found that I have this, I have a really bad superpower. So I don't name piping heroes anymore. But if I did, I would name Fred Morrison as one. I really think what he did with Outlands was just amazing. That album, I can, even to this day, I mean, that was a 2009 album, I think, November 2009. When I got that album, I would just listen to it all day. And even still, I listen to it now, and it's just as fresh and just as much fun.
I think, Davie, you've been working on a book with Fred recently, haven't you?
I am Fred's graphic design website man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and Fred was also at my wedding 2 weeks ago.
that's right. It was,
Yeah,
As you do.
Did he play for your wedding? Because that would have been amazing.
No, I got Stuart Sampson to play wedding instead.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. So, but they had all this choice.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess you're
Fred's some player and a great guy.
Yeah, Fred's a great guy. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. And then, so we're got you on to talk about the Patriotic Piper, the book, and so where did the idea come from? Let's put this tunes together, because if we can tell the audience if anybody's interested in buying them, or pipers or even musicians out there that like pipe settings of the tunes you've picked to put in this book are tunes that I would say you would use at ceremonial occasions, nearly in a way, or parades. Would you agree with that? Or?
Yeah, actually, that's largely what it was intended for. It's a veterans organization here in the U.S. called the Scottish American Military Society, or just SAMS by its initials. I ended up joining some years ago. I kind of forgot when. But within that, I joined in part because of a piper friend that I had, and we realized that I was eligible. And we started playing with the post. And as things developed, we got some drummers, and we realized it would be good to have something that was more established in the way of the music that we were playing, and also in the character of the organization itself. So, a lot of times what happens, if you don't have a formal band, a lot of times what happens is, okay, who's the better piper? You're the pipe major today. So, so I got put in charge de facto. So at one point there with saying we need to have a better collection of tunes, originally I was looking at it going, okay, I'm going to select tunes and do the standard thing that's done in pipe band. Here's a stack of photocopies. So as that developed, I looked at it and I said, well, one of the intentions of the Scottish American Military Society is to share and educate about the heritage. So I thought, well, I should also write like about a paragraph for each tune when I give these tunes to those, to the other people in the band. They can read it, try and submit it to memory however much, and then if it comes up, they can speak to these tunes. That and with my different projects, they tend to snowball. And that's what happened with this. Is essentially I looked at it and said, well, wait a minute, I've already published a book. If I'm going to do this work of selecting the tunes and writing the history, why don't I turn it into a book? And then the next roll of the snowball was, what if this was a fundraiser for our post? And then about the final snowball was, this has so many tunes, it has so much history, it seems like it needs to be a thicker book to be the value that we wanted to suggest for donation for the book. And that's when I started adding adding the recipes and food trivia in there.
Fantastic. So where did you source your recipes as well? Because I mean, I enjoy cooking myself, and I've read the book. You sent me the book over, and it's fantastic to see. And one thing I really liked when you there was a part about bannocks. You talked about bannocks, and I think it was Celtic bannocks you talked about. But in Shetland we have a different version of bannock as well. But you acknowledged that as well. You said, right, okay, listen, this is recipes here, but you're going to get the variants all over the place and variations on this recipe, you know. But for somebody that had never made some of these recipes before, I think it's an absolutely brilliant base to start on, kind of style thing.
Sure. Well, and one of the things that I found out when I was writing my first recipe book, you know, you've got different, really to say, demographics that you can try and orient your book toward. And at the time, I was looking at my first book and I said, oh, I'm going to write it for new bakers and experienced bakers and tourists because I want it to be an item here on the island and, you know, all these different things. You can't do too many demographics because you'll end up with a mess. But, you know, to that end, I like that element where I wanted to edify as well and hopefully inspire. And part of what I found out of those demographics is one of the things with people who get recipe books, and this kind of drives me bonkers, mind you, because I get a recipe book, I look at it and say, great, I've got this collection, I have all this stuff that I can make. So there's people with recipe books like that. There's people that they'll make 1 or 2 recipes, that's it. But there's this weird group, okay? I mean, I love them, but they're weird. They only read recipe books. They don't make anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, having already had that experience with Make Your Own Darn Good Cookies, when I started taking the idea of doing the Patriotic Piper as a fundraiser, I said, well, there's people that are going to read these Scottish and Irish recipes, not make them, but hopefully if I'm giving some food trivia, some history there, that they're reading that too and going, aha, you know, learning about something that they didn't know before, not just this perhaps unfamiliar dish.
Yeah, brilliant.
So, of all the recipes in the book, Don, what's your go-to Scottish recipe?
You said Scottish because otherwise I'd say farls, which is Irish. You know, and actually that's even kind of a funny thing itself. Probably the one that we make the most is stovies.
Yeah.
And I mean the funny thing with stovies is because originally I knew the stovey name because this was educational to me too. I knew the name, but I actually didn't know what stovies were. I thought they were some sort of what we would call a biscuit, you know, a small bread loaf.
Yeah.
But you know, I ended up getting online and learning about stovies and like looking for a recipe. Well, there's no recipe. You know, you could really say stovies is another word for just cooking, being creative in the kitchen, right? And you know, more or less doing this you know, steam up sort of thing. More recently, since what I'm also working on toward early next year publication is taking these same 15 recipes that are in the Patriotic Piper and making it, you know, the same thing of recipes and history and food trivia, but doing 15 Scottish and 15 Irish recipes, tying in my own heritage too. Ireland has Dublin Coddle. And when you look at Dublin Coddle and stovies, it's the same thing. And yet, from what I can tell, if you go over to Ireland, they think Dublin Coddle is just their thing and it's very unique. And no, guys, it's not.
Well, I suppose that happens a wee bit over the world, even with haggis, that we talk about haggis being this great Scottish thing. But they reckon it goes right back to Roman times and things. The Romans ate a version of haggis and things.
There was a fella in the local Scottish community years ago. He was a friend of a fellow who, you know, who had Scottish heritage, right? So this guy's showing up, Gary something, not that you'd know anyway. But I was talking with Gary, and he turns around and he says, you know, I think it's always great that I get to come to this. I'm Jewish. I'm not a part of the heritage, but you know, essentially he did what I talk about people can do when they want to connect with the heritage. Show up, show interest, be respectful, and there'll be a place for you at the table, as the saying goes. So Gary showed up. He was interested, this sort of thing. Well, coming from Jewish heritage, he was turning around and saying, geez, look at this. this recipe in Scottish heritage is just slightly different than this one in Jewish heritage, and then this recipe and this recipe and this recipe. And he was just bringing up all these parallels.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, and I've lost track of this guy. I would love to write down what his thoughts were, but there was a number of them. I think Haggis was one of them.
So was the book then you're saying about fundraising? Is it fundraising for the charity as such? And that was your ideal on it to begin with, was it?
Once it became a book, I think it was a very short amount of time before I realized that this was something that we could sell at the Post tent. Because my post is Post 1889 with Scottish American Military Society. And if we can sell it at the tent, then it needs to be since it was already associated to our post, then it needs to be a fundraiser item. So a percentage of every book sold, book or ebook, goes to help support Post 1889 in our events and outreach that we do.
Fantastic, great. That's really nice to hear. And here we go. The crucial bit: the place people can get a hold of the Patriotic Piper. Could you hold the book up, because I haven't got the hard copy here?
You bet.
It's available on Amazon. The Patriotic Piper, Don Scobie, Scoby. Because if any of you find Don on Facebook, he's Scobie. Just to confuse people like me. But there we go, folks. So it's available on there. Is it available other places as well, Don? Most mainstream?
Well, depending on your bookstore, your local bookstore, some of them can order it, some of them can't. The ebook is actually basically available at everywhere. So Barnes & Noble, Apple, Kobo, just about everywhere. And if somebody wants me to mess up their book with my bad handwriting and a little signature in there, they can contact me and I can give them an autograph and get that in the mail for them.
That's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Right, very quickly before we have to go on here, projects in the pipeline. You were telling us there that you're hoping to do. It sounds like you're going to do lots of things actually, but you've got this 15 Scottish, 15 Irish recipes coming out. But you were talking to me earlier in the day about 4 volumes or something eventually, or something you were hoping to work on or something.
And I'm not actually sure which 4 volumes, so let's talk real quick about both of them. I have 3 other books planned for the Patriotic Piper series. So 2 is already in the works, and it was all the tunes that didn't make it into this book. And then I have one that's more focused on the military, and a 4th one that I'm playing close to the vest right now. So sorry, guys. The other 4 books, when it comes to recipe books, I've been publishing on my baking company website recipe every month for free, and I'm turning those into an annual compilation book. So I've got 2 of those coming up. I've got the Scottish Irish recipe book that I want to do in time for St. Patrick's Day next year, and then I have a cookie book planned for about November that will give cookies for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
Don, brilliant. You've got plenty to keep you going there.
Oh, yeah.
There's the WoodbeyIslandBaking.com site as well, folks.
Great.
If you fancy, you can find Don on various websites here. You're not going to struggle to find him, believe me. Just Google him and you'll find him. Just put Don Scobie Piper. He will come up. He will come up. Don, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight to speak about the books.
Thank you, John.
Hear a wee bit of the history, what you're dealing with, but I think you've got an awful lot more to tell, and I'm sure that people, if they pop onto the website, if they've got any other questions they want to ask you. That's my dog going crazy on the couch, don't worry about it. And if there's anything else that you would like to ask Don, I'm sure if you drop him an email, he'd be quite happy to get back to you folks. Absolutely. And it sounds like a great thing to support. So Don, thanks very much. We're going to play out with a tune that you sent us as well here with the No Regrets band that you have as well now as well.
That's
There's
this
No
one.
That's that one. So if you want a No Regrets CD, and of course you mentioned Martin Bennett earlier on, and Martin had an album, No Regrets, didn't he, as well?
That's actually exactly where I got the name.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant.
That's what is it, track 5 on Grit, something like that.
You can't go too wrong there. Anyway, listen, Don, thanks very much. You stay safe out there. Take care, look after each other, and I hope you get back to. I don't know how you're actually going to scuba dive, bake, and play the pipes at one time, but it'll be a great video. It'll be a great video. Can't wait to see it. It'll be fantastic. Anyway, thanks, Don. Here's Don with no regrets.
There we go.
There we go. There we
That
go.
ended quickly.
Don and no regrets there. Brilliant. Great idea, he said. They're putting together his patriotic books and things. So if you want to go on and find them on the website, it'd be great. I'm sure it'd be great to hear from you. He'd be delighted to hear from you. Anyway, Davey, anyway, this is Wednesday night. We haven't done this for a week, but we've just posted stuff. But
I think it's always good when we've got somebody to talk to on a Wednesday night. It's just, it gets a bit samey if you're just us and just, yeah.
It's really nice when we get to talk to
anyone out there has got any projects coming up or any products coming up, give us a shout and we'll get you up and watch on Wednesday and we'll chat to you about it.
That's kind of why we're here. We set all this up as well. We want to help folk out.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes, we've got two cracking guests this Sunday night, actually. Who's our first guest?
Our first guest this Sunday is the 2020, I think, Young Trad Musician of the Year, piper, whistle player from Maryborough in the Highlands. We've got the one, the only Scottish name in the world, Ali Levac.
Yeah, brilliant. And he is an awesome player. Awesome player.
Yeah, so we've got Ali coming up.
Really looking forward. We've got another Alistair on as our second guest.
Oh, do we?
It's good. We've got an Ali for the first one and Alistair for the second one.
Sunday name, aye.
Yeah, we've got Alistair White, the fiddle player, originally from Lewis, but now resident in New York. And Alistair's coming on, of course. Yeah, a lot of you all know Alistair. He's been with the Battlefield Band now for about 20 years, I think.
Is it that long, is it? He didn't take over. He took over from John, didn't he? McCusker.
John McCusker, I think so. Right. Yeah, and that was 2001. I was reading today. So
wow,
I can't believe 20 years. So I'm really looking forward to having Alistair on. Last time I saw him was at a Hebkelt festival, and we had a few good nights. But he's a phenomenal player. Him and Cats do stuff together, and it's just brilliant. So really looking forward to that. So I'll stick the bios and the some photos up with the guests. after the show just now, so she can have a wee read at it. So that's two great guests, Ali Levac and Alistair White. Oh, the Alistairs. We'll have to put shirts and ties on or something. Nah. All right, never mind.
I was going to say something. I'll tell you after.
If Ross was here, he'd have his tie on.
Ross has got other things to worry about.
Yeah, he's got plenty to worry about. And all the best, Ross, pal. We really do mean that, and hope you have a great one. And we'll hear about it. We'll have to get him on some night, actually, so we can give him a hard time. It'd be great. We'd never give him an easy time, but there we go. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Share this about. I'm away to let the dog out because it's going to eat the couch. It may only be a Bichon Frise the size of a teddy bear, but it looks like it's about to eat the couch. So that's that. So the salt water must have got to it.
It's a gremlin.
Anyway, thanks, Davey. You guys stay safe out there and have a good week, folks.
See you Sunday.
See you after. Cheers, Ina. Cheers.